What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We have another big NBA slate for today. We're going to talk about these games as well as some player props. Before we jump into those player props, I do have to pick a winner from yesterday's video to win a free month of our VIP. So I do this in every single video. If this video gets 250 likes, I will select a random comment down below to win a free month of VIP. So make sure you guys smash that like button, drop a comment, and you will have a chance at winning free VIP. So let's go ahead and pick our winner from yesterday. Winner is going to be for Codsack25, who said Green Day today. Well, Codsack, I hope you had a good day yesterday, my man. I appreciate the love and support. Send me a message on Discord, and I will get you added for that free month. Looking at our free picks from yesterday, guys. So I gave you 3 slips over on parlay play, as well as 3 money line slips that I was going to lock in as well. So the 2 that cashed right here, we had Jalen Hurts and Josh Jacobs, obviously, that cashed for NFL. That did end up cashing us out. Eagles, Hurts was very sweaty on that one. I thought he was going to chalk, but he ended up pulling it through for us that game, 7-10, an ugly Monday Night Football game. If you look at the other slip we had Norman Powell with Knuppel. Knuppel was free. He cashed everything in the first half. I mean, it was very, very free for Knuppel. I wish I would have played more on him, and I had him in quite a few slips. But the bad beat of the day was for our man Franz Wagner. We had Wagner with Knuppel PRA. Franz ended up with 19 points on the dot. The game was going to go into overtime, and the worst part about this is I had Portland money line from the video as well. So we had the Spurs money line, the Bucks money line, then we had Portland money line for plus money. I put a unit on that one as well, and Portland ended up getting beat by a buzzer beater from Desmond Bane. Bane chalked Wagner by the buzzer beater, and he chalked my money line. So it would have went to overtime. Wagner probably would have got 2 points. There would have been a chance for, obviously, the Trailblazers to come out there and get a dub as well. So that ended up hurting me. Bane kind of ruined my night, but it is what it is, man. Overall, free picks yesterday were very, very good. Hopefully, we can continue that into today. If you guys do want to get all of our picks, link to the WAP is down in the description for $25 a month, and you can get 20% off right now with code NBA. You can get every single slip that I am personally playing. You guys can join the Discord for free. We would love to have you guys a part of the Discord. Let's go ahead and jump into some of these free picks. So we're going to talk about these games first, talk about some money lines I'm probably going to run, and then we'll talk about some player props. So first game of the day that we have is going to be the Grizzlies taking on the Knicks. So this game is going to be played in New York. The Knicks are minus 375 favorites right now and minus 9.5 on the spread. A pretty fast-paced game with a 232.5 total. Public betting has 86% of the money on the Knicks and then 91% of the money on the Knicks covering a 9.5 point spread. 86% of the money on the under on this total. So far, man, Grizzlies struggling a little bit in this season. Not going to lie. Ja Morant's been suspended at least once. He's, I think, sat a couple games this season already. They just got beat by OKC a couple days ago, 100 to 114. So games stayed pretty competitive. A lot of these games have been decently competitive, but they've got beat pretty bad in a couple of these as well. Like, one of them, I mean, I guess 15 points not huge. They got beat by Miami by 32, so they've had some bad beats. Now, I'm playing in New York. This is going to be a tough game. The Knicks have been hot. They just beat the Nets by almost 40 points. Game before that, they beat Minnesota by 30 points, beat Washington by 17, beat Chicago. Like they are on a run right now. The Knicks are looking like a force to be reckoned with, almost fully healthy right now. Memphis is missing a couple players. You guys can see the injury news right here. Nothing different than usual. On the Knicks side of things, we got Mitchell Robinson, who is questionable for his ankle, and then our boy Kevin over here, who is questionable for back spasms. So not anything major on this Knicks side of things. Brunson, Towns supposedly playing, Mikal Bridges, and Novig. So pretty much starting 5 we're good here. I think Mitchell Robinson might play as well. So it's looking pretty good for the Knicks. Now, a lot of money on this Knicks side of things. They're minus 375 favorites. It's impossible for me to want to play the Knicks right here. If I played the Knicks, it'd have to be like a parlay. But the thing about these parlays is there's not any teams I trust a lot tonight to parlay them with. So a lot of close, or maybe the Nuggets, but a lot of teams that could come out here and sneak out wins. To be honest with you, it wouldn't surprise me with this much money if somehow the Grizzlies ended up pulling out a dub. I think the Knicks win, but it wouldn't surprise me, man. That could definitely happen. These are professional teams. Any team could beat any other team on any given day, so just remember that. You could have some upsets tonight. This could be one of the spots where there is an upset. Lots of money on the Knicks side of things. We're just going to roll with that. So I think this game's going to be pretty good for props. I'll be running a few props from this game myself, and in terms of money lines or anything like that, I'm probably just going to fade this one unless I do parlay it. I do have the Knicks to win this game. I don't think the Grizzlies are going to get the upset just because the Knicks have been so good, so good lately, and I'm just gonna ride the train on that one. So the next game we have is going to be the Raptors taking on the Nets in Brooklyn. Nets are plus 400 underdogs at home, plus 10.5 on the spread, and the 233.5 total. Right now, 67% of the money is on the Raptors. Money line, 61% is on the Raptors covering a 10.5 point spread, and then you got 58% of the money on the over 233.5. Taking a look at these two teams, the Nets have had a horrible season. They've won one game, and the only team they beat is the Pacers, who's won like one game themselves. So Pacers struggling, Nets are struggling pretty bad. Raptors looking pretty good this season. They are coming off of a close loss to Philly. Before that, they were on a 4-game win streak. I actually had the Sixers in this game, so that actually ended up winning me money as well. So this game, I think that it can be kind of tricky. Obviously, Toronto's pretty much fully healthy. The Nets are missing Cam Thomas again tonight. Sharp is questionable as well. But they're starting 5. Pretty much right now we're good other than Cam Thomas. So Cam Thomas is the big one. Cam, obviously one of their lead scorers. They do have Michael Porter Jr. right now. MPJ has been stepping it up. I like MPJ a lot in this matchup. On the Toronto side of things, you could pretty much pick from quite a few players, man. The ones I've been really leaning on is going to be Brandon Ingram. Ingram, I expect to have a good game tonight as well. If you want to take for props, this game's probably going to be pretty decent for props. I think this game stays pretty competitive, to be honest with you. I do think the Raptors pull out a win, but it's just too juice to take, man. The Raptors in this spot at minus 400, I'd have to run the Nets at plus 400. For real, the Nets probably get destroyed. We can look at how they played recently. We can look at the scores of their last few games. They just got beat by 40 by the Knicks, like we said. Got beat by 22 from the Pistons before that. They did beat the Pacers by 9. And the other games before that, man, they are getting beat by 20-plus points in a lot of these games. So they've been getting killed. I think this could be a spot where they sneak a win. Probably not, but the potential's there. At plus 400, I wouldn't be mad at anybody for taking it, and I wouldn't call anybody dumb for taking it at a plus 400 odds because that's really not that bad of value. Looking at the next game we have the Warriors taking on the Thunder. This is a game that could get a little bit sneaky as well. OKC right now 10-1, minus 270 favorites at home, minus 7.5 on the spread, and 229.5 is the total on this game. Right now there is a 50-50 split on Golden State money line and on OKC. 54% of the money on Golden State to cover a 7.5 point spread, and then 88% of the money on the total on the over on this game. Looking at these two teams, OKC had their first loss versus Portland. I actually called that upset as well. We got lucky on that one. But last 2 games, man, they've dominated the Kings, and then they pretty much whooped up on the Grizzlies as well. The Warriors coming off a win versus Indiana by 30 points, 31 points. 2 games prior to that, they were losing. So this Golden State team has been pretty beat up. They are looking a lot better right now. Horford's questionable, but they do have Butler and Curry in this game. Kuminga's in, Draymond's in, Quentin Post is in. OKC looking a little bit beat up themselves. Dort is out. Wiggins is out. Jalen Williams is still out. So this team's struggling a little bit. They are still favored at home. This is a spot where I think that you could get some value with Golden State, man. I'm going to roll with Golden State at plus 270. Realistically, OKC's the better team in my opinion, but they've had a really hot season so far, and I think this could be a spot where Golden State could sneak out a win. So I'm kind of riding with the public on this one. I do think Golden State covers a 7.5 point spread, so maybe I just run their spread for even odds before running that. But might put a full unit on their spread and then maybe a half a unit on them to come out and sneak out the win. I do think OKC, like I said, is the better team, but to me, Golden State has a good chance here to come out and sneak a dub in OKC. But that's a tough one, man. It's a tough one. If you're an OKC fan, I'm not hating on OKC by any means. You guys have probably the best team in the league for sure. But I'm just saying, right now with some injuries against a good Golden State team, they could sneak out a dub. Next game we have is going to be the Celtics taking on the Sixers. This is another game that I like for props. Philly is minus 108 at home, minus 1.5 on the spread with a 230.5 point total. Right now it's a 50-50 split on the money line. 52% of the money is going to be on Philly covering the spread, and then a 65% breakdown under on the total on this game. Looking at these two teams, neither team are playing on the back-to-back. They both have 2 days rest. The Celtics are coming off of a win versus Orlando in Orlando, 111-107. And then if you look at the Sixers, they're coming off a loss versus the Pistons, and I'm pretty sure I took the Pistons in this game, but I can't remember if I played that one or not. I'm not real sure on that. Anyways, Sixers looking pretty good this season. So have Boston, to be honest, I guess they're kind of they're still losing record. But regardless, they've looked better than I thought they would without Tatum. They beat some weak teams. Obviously, the Jazz kept it pretty close to that game. They've beating the Magic. I mean, they've kept a lot of these games closer than I expected them to. Just gonna say that. I mean, they got some good players. I like Brown in this matchup, honestly. Philly has a lot of mouths to feed, so it makes it really hard to kind of figure out which player is going to do good. Any player can pop off. Obviously, Maxi's their star right now. Embiid can have good games if they give him the minutes. Edgecombe, I think McCain is out this game still. No, McCain is back. He's in this game. He's playing this game. Paul George is still out. So lots of mouths to feed on the Philly side of things. I kind of fade Philly in matchups like this just because you never know who's going to score. They have a lot of scorers, so be careful with that. I do like Jaylen Brown. I like Derek White in this matchup. Both either of those players could have a good game. I'm running with the Sixers to get the win tonight at minus 108. I think the odds there are pretty good. I do think Philly has the better team right now with Tatum being out, and I do think they come out here and get a win. But Boston at plus 113 is not a bad beat as well, man. This could be a good spot to take somebody for plus money. If you think Boston wins, trust your gut on that one. I'm trusting mine. I got the Sixers in this game. So as of right now, we're calling Sixers, and then we're going to take Golden State for the spread, and then probably going to fade these two in terms of calling a team. Next game we have is going to be the Pacers taking on the Jazz. This is a clash of the weaklings, man. We got the Jazz plus 131 at home, plus 2.5 on the spread, 231.5 total. 55% of the money is going to be on the Jazz, 53% of the money them covering a 2.5-point spread, and then you got 90% of the money on the over on this total. So the Jazz are playing on a back-to-back. The Pacers have 2 days of rest. Pacers just coming off of a blowout loss versus Golden State. So you got to remember, guys, a blowout loss. Starters got to rest this game, or half of the game for the most part. Didn't play the fourth quarter probably. And then they also had another day. So really they haven't played a full game since the 8th versus the Nuggets. If you look at the Jazz just got beat in a pretty close game versus Minnesota. They kept the game competitive. They are at home. They played at home last night. I think that they're going to be able to keep this game close. This could be a spot where this is tough to call, man. The Jazz at home at plus money. It's hard for me not to take them over this Pacers team because the Pacers team hasn't looked good, but they do have Nembhard back in. Siakam's in. They are missing, a ton of players. McConnell is questionable. Jazz on a back-to-back missing Kessler for the rest of the season. It's hard. This is a tough one, man. It's tough. I think what I'm going to end up doing is running Pacers minus 133 just because of the back-to-back. Now, if they weren't on if the Jazz weren't on the back-to-back, I do think they could sneak out a win here. I like Siakam in this matchup, and I also like Markkanen. I think Lauri Markkanen has a good game. We'll talk about some player props here as well, but I do take the Pacers here. I think 1-9. This is a spot for them to pull out their second win of the season. They've been struggling. They got some players back, so we'll see what happens. But anyways, this game probably going to be pretty decent for props if you want to target it for target more players than just Siakam and Markkanen. Next game we have is going to be the Nuggets and the Kings. Sacramento plus 300 odds at home. Sacramento plus 8.5 on the spread. Then 242.5 total. The fastest paced game on the slate by a long shot. 80% of the money is on the Nuggets money line. 86% of the money them covering the spread. And then 91% of the money on the over on this total. Taking a look at these two teams. Nuggets have been balling this season. 4-game win streak. Beat the Pacers, Golden State, Miami, and then the Kings in 4 back-to-back games. Kings on a 2-game loss streak. Neither team are on a back-to-back. Kings just got blown out by Minnesota, got blown out the game before that versus OKC. So this Kings team has been struggling. If you look at Denver's side of things, Aaron Gordon's on the injury news, and so is Murray. Both players are probable, which means they're probably going to play, but there is potential they sit. Sacramento, on the other hand, Keegan Murray's out. Sabonis is questionable. If Sabonis sits, this game could get ugly. If Murray and Gordon sit and Sabonis plays, this could be a spot for Sacramento to end up getting the dub. So you got to think about that, man. There is potential here for Sacramento at plus 300 underdogs. You can get some value. Now, when you have two players that are probable, odds are both of those players aren't going to sit. So we're probably not going to see Murray and Aaron Gordon sit and then Sabonis play, which could give huge value for Sacramento money line. So what's probably going to happen is they all probably play. Sabonis is probably going to play. I think with a fully healthy team, this Nuggets team is going to win. So if I was going to take two plays for like a parlay for just like money lines or whatever, I'm probably going to run Nuggets with it would end up being The Knicks or the Raptors. Now, I said the Nets could win plus 400 at home. That's just because it's plus 400. Realistically, I don't think they beat the Raptors. So I'm looking at the Knicks or the Raptors as my second on this parlay, and that's probably what I'm going to end up running. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do yet, but my call so far, we're going to call it. I got the Knicks winning. I've got the Raptors winning, but I think this game stays close, and you could potentially take the Nets at plus 400. I'm going to take... I'm just going to say Golden State gets an upset. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say OKC, then Golden State spread. I'm taking Golden State spread, but I see the upset. I think an upset could happen here, and at plus 270, I'll just say Golden State. Trust your gut on that one. I'm going to take the Sixers to win. I'm going to take Pacers to win. I'm going to take Nuggets to win. Those are my calls for all these games. So that being said, guys, let's jump into some player props. If you guys want a free month of VIP, you can sign up for any of our partnered apps down in the description. Parlay Play, Underdog, Sleeper, Novig, Dabble, Better, Chalkboard, and now Thunder Pick. If you guys want to sign up for any of those 8 apps, you get a free month for every single one that you sign up for. You can get up to 8 full months for free. Just throwing it out there. But let's go ahead and jump into these free picks, guys. So the first free pick that I'm going to be taking is going to be for our man Michael Porter Jr. So we're taking MPJ. We're going to take him over rebounds and assists, or we're going to take his PRA. Well, I'll be honest with you guys. There's a lot of plays that you can take on here. There's a lot that I like, and it's... If he chalks one of them, that doesn't mean he chalks all of them. So I like his points at 19.5, first of all. I really like this line, 19.5 points. Dude's averaging almost 30 points over his last 3 games, 32, 28, and 25. He had 32 the game versus Atlanta. He has a pretty decent matchup versus Toronto. If you look at Toronto in terms of points defense, give up 117 points in the league, middle of the pack. If you go to small forward and power forward position to the 4 position overall, you're looking at around 19th ranked in the league. Matchup-wise here, you got Ingram versus Porter if it works out that way. So I like the matchup here. One thing about Porter is you can come over here and look at his scoring chart. It's going to be, I think it was like a rainbow. So you have some green areas and some red areas. Let me find that. So we're going to put up Porter Jr. right here. Yeah, so he has a green matchup under the rim. He shoots 27% of his shots there going against the bottom 3 defense. He does have a tough matchup from the 3-point line. He shoots 44% of his shots from the 3. If Porter gets open, though, it's these 3-point matchups you have to understand, like, just because it's red doesn't mean that the defense is so good there that the player is not going to be able to score. Sometimes that just means that the players that have played recently versus this team just haven't hit their threes either. Now, I'm not saying the perimeter defense of the Toronto Raptors are bad or anything like that. I'm just saying that you have to remember, like, some people can get hot on threes, some people can be cold on threes, and that's going to make these 3-point numbers look a little bit different. I mean, obviously, there's some teams that you just know that are weak and that are good in defending the 3, but right here, man, I think this is a spot where Porter could end up getting some good shot volume off. You can see he's averaging 18 field goal attempts per game, almost 20 in some of these games. If the game stays close, he's going to get more. You can look at his minutes in his last game versus the Knicks. 26 minutes is all he played because they got beat by 40 points. He shot 9 threes that game, 18 field goal attempts. He had 4 free throws. Like, the dude had tons of opportunities here, still scored 25 points in a blowout loss. So this is a spot where I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think this game stays competitive. I like Porter for points. I honestly like his rebounds and assists at 8.5 as well. I know he doesn't have a lot of players that he can assist, but you can see, man, he's getting rebounds right here all the time, man. 17, 11, 9 boards, almost double-digit boards in back-to-back games. He hooked or went under versus Detroit, but that was a tough game, man. Detroit, the Pistons defense is pretty dang good. They don't give up a lot of stats, and then this game's a blowout, so I don't even count this one, but he only had 4 boards in that game. So without Cam Thomas, his assist line comes down a little bit. He's averaging right at 2 assists per game on the season. You could run his assists or assume he's going to get at least 2 assists every single game, majority of the time. Last game was the only game this season he missed. So you can run rebounds and assists here as well. You can run PRA. You can run points. You can do whatever you want. For me, I think I'm going to run Porter points. I think that's what I'm going to run on the first slip at a 1.4x. I like 19.5. I think he gives us 20 points, and I really like this matchup. So that's going to be pick number 1, Michael Porter Jr. You can really pick whatever you want for him. I think he has a ball-out game versus the Raptors, and I like him in this spot. So that's going to be pick number 1. The next 2 picks that I have one of them ended up being a boost for Towns right here, 9.5 rebounds. So this would give us a 2.02x. 250 would win us $505 if we decided to run this one. But I like Towns to give us 10 boards. So let's pull up our man Karl-Anthony Towns. Towns is the player I don't usually put money on just because the dude can randomly, it's the coaching. The dude will randomly get like 20 minutes in a game. So far this season, if you look at his minutes have been steadily over 30 minutes. Now, this is something that happened to me last year. And I remember vividly saying this, like, Towns' minutes were like 35 minutes per game. And I was like, yeah, Towns is going to get like 20 minutes this game because I'm playing him, watch. And it happened. And the dude had like 4 minutes in the first quarter, like 4 minutes in the second quarter, and played like 20 minutes the whole game randomly. No injury news, nothing. So if that happens again, your boy might lose my ish on social media. So I recommend following me on social media if you haven't. Because if that does end up happening, I'm going to flip my ish. So I'm keeping this PG by not saying curse words. But anyways, Towns at 9.5 boards, man. He's cashed it every single game. He's averaging almost 13 rebounds per game. It's a good matchup versus Memphis. Memphis gives up a ton of rebounds to the power forward position. If you look at centers, their defense is a little bit better. Matchup's a little bit tougher versus the centers. Mitchell Robinson is questionable. Towns can obviously play both positions. I like Towns in this spot, though. So Light Towns to give us 10 boards head-to-head versus Memphis. He's cashed it one of his last 2 games. Both are from last season. He had 11 in one game, 7 in the other. He played 30 minutes in both of those. He cashed just 80% of games last season. We got a lot of value this season so far. He's been dominating this rebounds line at a 1.4x value here for our man Karl-Anthony Towns. It's hard not to take him in the spot. So I'm throwing in some money on him. I'm going to take a chance on him right here. The data shows that he's good for it, and 250 wins us 505 if you want to lock in this exact slip. So next slip we're going to jump over to is going to be for our man Pascal Siakam. Now, I was looking at Siakam's point line. I was looking at it, and it's just very inflated, man. Earlier, we could get him at 20 points for like a 1.4x. Now it's 24.5 for a 1.6x, and there's nothing in between. So they boosted his rebounds line. 29.5 points in rebounds you can get for a 1.5x. Not a bad payout. So let's pull up our man Siakam here. I do think this game stays very competitive. I do have the Pacers winning this game, and this could be a spot where Siakam does I think he could be a facilitator as well. If you want to play PRA, you can do that as well. But his line's so boosted or so elevated that it's hard to play Siakam on a lot of his lines right now. But 29.5 PR. He's cashed it 5 of 9 games on the season. He's averaging 32.2. He has chalked this 2 of his last 3 games. He hooked it once versus the Nets, chalked it versus Denver. Denver he ended up taking right at 18 field goal or 16 field goal attempts, shot 30%. He's averaging 20 field goal attempts per game. A lot of these games, man, he's getting a lot of shot volume. He's getting around 8 free throws per game on average as well. So the chance for him to score is definitely there. Some of these games, he's scoring 30-plus points alone. He is also getting quite a few rebounds in some of these games. You look at his rebounds average on the season. He's averaging right at 8 boards per game. A couple of games he has double digits. His last 5 games, he hasn't looked super good on the rebounds. But you also have to understand, a lot of people are going to see this. They're going to see an under on 7.5 boards, and they're going to be like, run Siakam under on rebounds. And then sometimes, you know how last 5s work. You take the last 5 popular play on Prizepicks, which this is going to look green for it. People are going to take the under, and then he ends up with 10 boards. So I do like the odds here that he ends up coming out here and having a good game for us. I like points and rebounds at 29.5. The scoring chart is what I really like for this game. So if we come over here and we look at the if I can find the game, the Indiana versus Jazz game, we can come over here to Siakam, and then we can look at where he shoots his shots and where the Jazz give up their points. So they give up a ton of points from the three-point line. I've already told you guys, three-point line, sometimes you got to take with a grain of salt because some players could just be hot from the three-point line. Devin Booker, for example, versus the Jazz, which could make this look a lot more green than it normally would be. But he does shoot 56% of it, or 58% of his shots in the paint. He has a great matchup in the paint, a pretty tough matchup under the rim, but everything is looking good, man. I love the way this shot chart looks. I think Siakam has a good game scoring, and I like him tonight at 29.5 points and rebounds if you want to lock it in. If you look at the Jazz PR or points and rebounds defense, give up more points than almost any other team in the league. Kind of almost a top 10 rebound defense. If you go to power forward, they do have top 5 defense to the power forward position. So defensively to the power forward position, teams have struggled. But I do think Siakam has a good game tonight, and I think he's going to be needed for this Indiana team to be able to come get a dub on the road and get their second win of the season, man. Siakam knows he's got to step it up. This team's looking ugly right now. I'm hoping they don't just give up because I think they do have some potential. But I like Siakam in this spot at 29.5 points and rebounds. Now, you can run any of these plays on Prizepicks. For example, we can come over here to points and rebounds. Points and assists. Where are we at? Where's points and rebounds? Do we not have points and rebounds, or am I just completely blind? I may just be blind. PRA, points and assists, rebounds, points, rebounds, and assists. There it is. Holy crud, boy. I was about to lose my mind. I was like, I know it has to be on here. I looked at it earlier. So Siakam points and rebounds, you can get him at 29.5. We can take a look and see what the value is on Prizepicks as well with the same slip. But the value is going to be better most likely on parlay play with that boost. So that being said, that's pick number 3. Final pick of the day is going to be for our man Jimmy Butler. This is one of my favorite plays on the slate. Right now, Butler's line is so low because I know he's had some injuries and he was pulled early one game, but his PRA line 24.5, man. Now, look at Butler's PRA this season. He's averaging almost 30. The beginning of the season, 24.5 was a goblin. Right now, his 24.5 PRA is almost a regular payout for our man Butler. It's a very good line. I like this a lot for our man Butler. You can run his points by itself if you want. This gives you a 2.29x. I'm probably going to have Butler in a couple of slips. I actually might run Butler with Porter as well and throw that in another slip. I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to lock that in, and then I'm going to lock in Porter with Butler as well because I think that could end up being a good slip. I don't want these boosts to end up selling me. So Porter, we'll take Porter at, should I run his points or RA in this one? I'm going to run his points. I like the points better than the rebounds and assists personally, just because he's shooting so many shots. We'll run Porter with Butler. You can take Butler at like 14.5 points for the same thing. You can get it at 1.97x, or you can run his PRA here. You got to remember, they got a full healthy team. They got Curry. They got some scorers, so Butler's RA could be pretty good as well. So I'm going to run this 250 for 535. There's going to be 3 slips that I locked in live on video. So you guys can see here, we got Towns and Porter, Butler and Porter, and then Siakam and Butler. So I'm running those. I'm running these boosts. If these boosts end up chalking me, it is what it is, but I do want to make sure I have some money on the plays that I chose as well. But anyways, let's pull up our man Butler. You can see, like I said, he's been killing this line. He did have a couple of games beforehand that he struggled. That one game where he only played 16 minutes. Where are we at? 14 minutes versus Phoenix because he got pulled for an injury. The next game he did play 30 minutes. That was versus Denver. He only had 22 PRA. He had 16 points. The game after that, his last game versus the Pacers, he destroyed them, man. 37 PRA, 21 points. Right now they do have Curry. You got to remember that. Some of these games without Curry. So without Curry, he had 2 games. That last game was one of them. So obviously it was needed to score in that game as well. But this is a game where I like Butler. 24.5 PRA is just very, very low. Head-to-head, he only had 2 his only game versus OKC. It is a tough matchup versus OKC. They have a good defense. We can pull Butler up. It's probably not going to be very good for his scoring chart. I don't even think I looked this one up just because I knew it was going to be bad, but maybe it'll surprise me. So Butler, yeah. You got red and orange here. He's got a tough scoring matchup. Shoots 54% of his shots under the rim, going against the second-ranked defense in the league under the rim. So it's going to be a tough matchup for sure. Butler at 24.5, he's good for that pretty much every single game, majority of the time. He's going to have some off games for sure. But this is a game where I think Golden State, like I said, could come out here and get a dub. And if they get the dub, it's going to be because Butler stepped it up, in my opinion. So I like Butler, 24.5 points, rebounds, and assists. It is locked in. So lock in these plays if you like them, guys. Fade them if you don't. I got my money where my mouth is. I'm going to lock in some money lines here today as well. Join the Discord if you're not in there already. It is free to join. The link's down in the description. If you guys want to get all my plays, you know where to go. Join the WAP. We'd love to have you a part of the community, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video.